Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's TGIF. It's Friday. Another fun-filled week has passed by. And what do we see this morning? We see strength in the currencies. I'm sorry, strength in the dollar. I'm laughing at that. Uh, the the euro has now slipped into the sell. It's like what? Can you imagine that? Now that's doing it. It's like wow, crazy stuff there. Crazy, crazy. Anyway, that is the action we're starting to see. Let's see if you can see the pictures. Let's see if anybody's on the chat line. There we are. Yep, I see. I see us. And let's get that fact check spreadsheet up there also. So yeah, that is the action of the day. Isn't that something? I mean, it's just when you thought it was safe to be short the dollar, forget it. I mean, as much as they're in trouble, they are going to be. Let's see if there's a way of describing it better. But in the end result is as long as they have money to buy, they will buy. Hey Jordan, how you doing this morning? As I take a sip of my tea. So yeah, they're going to keep on doing that stuff and keep everybody in a channel for under the guise of stability, and it's pretty much the nature of the whole marketplace at this point. And they're going to, I guess what they're going to do is they're going to try to tighten as much as they can tighten, but they're not exactly going to, what's the best word to describe it? They're not going to be blatant about it. They're not going to be overtly aggressive about it. They're just going to tighten as best as they can, and it'll be the nature of it all. In other words, it won't be that what's the word I'm looking for? Punishing. To the pre-existing system that we've been living through for all these years. Remember, it's since 2008, since the beginning of Mr. Obama. Him getting elected by November, everything was collapsed at that point. The markets anticipated this stuff, and they just destroyed the banking system, and the global banking system has collapsed. And this is where we are now, where the central banks, some command and control structure is functioning on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, and no one really, you can hear it. There's frustration out there. You're like, people in, say, the financial markets once in a while will say it, but they don't say it so loud. It's amazing, how quiet they can say it. Like, only if they would stop tapering. Isn't that a magical word? The average guy, you walk into McDonald's, you walk into a restaurant, you'd say, you go to some friends at a football match, and you go, boy, I wish they would stop tapering. They'd have no idea what you're talking about. Instead of saying something like, well, I wish they would stop printing money like it's means nothing, and they're bankrupting the country. No one says stuff like that on live TV. It's very rare. You're starting to see a few go like it should have stopped like 9 months ago. 9 months ago it started in 2008, and the world now is in such debt that the dollar is being bought because the United States is in the least. It's in the best position. Let's put it that way. It's in the best position out of all the countries in the world in debt. We're in the best position, and it's a blow my mind, thing there. So, anyway, okay, that's my opinion on how the tapering will really work. It'll go slow and steady, and it won't be so tenacious. I don't. At least I don't see it as tenacious. So, we'll just go from there. All right, let's take a look at the euro. Let's look at the Swiss. You can see the Swiss just literally sleepwalking these last 3 days. After pushed down, we were in the sell. You can see right there, we are inched above the plus area. So we're actually flirting with a daily buy. If we get a green dot there, or no dot, or just that closing there, we'll push it into the daily buy. You can see the weekly Look at that. The super out of the super 5 side of this right there on our indicator. The blue is starting to turn back up, but remember we follow just a 3 on this. So the gas line 3 is the green line and the histogram, and they're plus. So until they go minus, this thing's staying in its weekly buy. That's why there's no little circle around it. And that's the poison of the day, I guess you could say. Let's jump over to, where's that at? We're going to jump over to the euro, what I was saying about a little while ago. I was like, whoa, check that out, euro. Right there. There we go. And as you can see that, it's drifted underneath. It's got a red dot, no less. It's actually threatening a daily sell. Yeah. So the fun and games of sell the dollar and buy everything else is starting to drift away, and it's a tad disappointing. Not a lot. I didn't expect an insane move to begin with. You know, I really didn't. I thought maybe we'd have a little bit more longevity. You know, in other words, last a little bit longer than just a week. You know, I thought maybe there'll be some level of, like, you know, adjusting. But you know what? That's the game. It's an insider's game, and there's no other way of describing it but that. It's an insider's game. And as you can see here on J4X, we got a little red generating right there. It's doing the same exact thing. It's trying to pressure down. We've already, you know, this is obviously our work here, and it's, you know, it's ahead of everybody. So, you know, it's already through the line and showing the pressure. Just now, overall, you know, you can really say, you can see it right there is green. So the euro itself is plus for the day. You know, it's plus by a couple ticks here. Your long cable, yeah, cable's still in the daily sell. Check this out. Right there. And not, each day we keep on trying to get into a buy, but it just doesn't do it. And we're in a weekly sell, so, you know, it's got to be an intraday trade you're into, because, you know, we're bearish now since, like, back in here, back in the 134 area. You know, so, see, that's why we have the big line right there. We went to the weekly buy this week. You know, right there, that week right there. I'm not sure where exactly, but we always put the line in at the end of the week, and you know, it's, you know, we're 132, and the sell was in the 134s or 35s. So no, you don't want to be long this, and not counting the fact that we're in a daily sell. So it's a winner chicken dinner in our strategy. You know, we're in a daily sell since here, and it keeps on flirting with the buy, but it fails at it each time. So. I'd hope it's a short-term trade, and I hope it's turned up for you at the moment. I can wish things, you know. We'll wish them for you. We're wishing for all those good things to be, and we hope that they are. And we'll see how the, you know, I don't, I'm not really convinced there's any real action to any of this stuff at this point. You know, it's just sideways. You're just trading in a trading range when it comes to the day-to-day, the week-to-week, you know, basis. So you really don't want to be too. You don't want to. Let's put it this way: you don't want to fight these products that much. That's for sure. You don't want to fight them. You know, in other words, you know, if it's going through your numbers and you've been practicing, you really don't want to not get out, you know, or you're gonna pay the price, and you don't want to do that. I mean, you don't want to lose money for the sake of just, you know, being aggressive. So, all right, let's see where are we at this point. Let's go over to the Turkish lira. See what the Turkish lira is doing. We'll find it in a second. And you can see, let me just show you J4X too. Nope, that's not it. Let me just show you J4X, the GBP dollar pairs trade, just real quick there. Just give you that flavor. As you can see there, the what is it right there? You see it's red too. Now, it's still through. You know, it tried to show the strength yesterday. It's a little battle going on between our works here. Yeah, by the end of the day, I would expect to see, in the next 2 hours, I'd expect to see this dipped lower. But as far as we can tell, with the red and the line turning down and looking at our work, problems, definite problems. It might not go anywhere. I mean, in the sense of, at most, maybe play to the black, to the bottom and the end of the range. Right there. To the 131.92 basically. It touched it once right there. It could be hesitant and not really touch it but get lower. That's about it. So, Middle Age says, after your rotation, could you look at March corn and Jan beans? Thanks. No, we can do that right now. Let's open up one of those. This way we don't forget about it. If we wait, a lot of times we forget. It's like, what? It's like, I don't want to do that to you. So we'll take a quick look at them. I mean, that's part of the reason to be in the webinars, be able to ask a question and get an answer. And let's see, first one was March corn. And there it is right there. You see it's trying to press up. The math hasn't turned yet, but it's surviving in the weekly, as you see right there. It's not giving up the weekly. And you would think that this line would be turned up. I'm a little surprised there that it's not. We'll see what kind of strength, but one thing is for sure, it's telling you not to get short overall, solely because we're in that weekly buy. So there's the went into the daily sell a couple days ago, but all it's done is gone in the wrong direction. But since we're in a weekly buy, you're not taking that short there, so you don't have to worry about that. And then let's show you Jan beans right there. Jan beans doing the same thing, still in that weekly buy. It tried in the beginning of the week, and you can see it. It's trying to battle its way through the plus area even. It's really trying to get there. I really thought at one point, I thought I saw it at one point through the plus. It's getting very close. So both of those are starting to show, I don't know, it's profit taking and new crop. I guess that's old crop, right? So Jan beans are the old crop, and they're doing lots of harvesting of it. So it's just a matter of days and weeks now. Beans have been probably the biggest of the sideways actions. I mean, we were in a weekly sell for a long while. Was it 12 weeks or something like that? Came down from the 14s. And you can see it there. We went into the weekly sell back in here in the 1350 area, I guess it is. And it had just come off the 14s. And it took it down to the 11 and change, and it turned right around there. It did it there, 11 and change right there. And then we jumped into the weekly buy 2 weeks ago. This is the third week now. And all it did is go into a daily sell at the same time, and you couldn't be long. So if we get a daily buy out of this, that'll be interesting, because we have it has fought the upward momentum consistently. So I guess the only thing we can really say about that is that there seems to be greater potential hiding out there in that sector. They're harvesting the beans now. A lot of beans in this country are being harvested, so I would think, what's going to move it is the production. Seeing what production people are getting out of it, and how much of an acre, that type of thing. They must be getting. I know that a lot of people got a good acre of corn out of the field. So the bigger question is, are they? I haven't really talked to anybody. I have to talk to someone and see how they're making out with the beans. See if they're getting great yields. If they're getting great yields, that's why they're holding it down. Wouldn't surprise me, because they got great yields out of the corn and the wheat. So wheat was actually kind of mixed, but corn that's why corn is kind of not up in the sevens. Is corn, they were getting some really good yields out of the field, and they're still, some still sitting around doing nothing out in the fields. They don't have enough room for them, really. The corn cookers, don't have enough room to take them in. Yeah, I mean, I think we saw $6 corn in the May contract, was it? Let's take a look at May. Is the May or July? I think it was the one or the other. I think it went up and kissed it and then came right back down again. There is, it's not Sep corn that I saw. There's the March. There is the May. Let's see what the May corn looks like. Yeah, it did it right there about 6 days ago, 7 days ago. Went to 601. And that seems to be the highest. And then the second highest seems to be the July corn, which are all new crops, I guess you could say. Well, actually, July is a cross, isn't it? Actually, it's September is the new crop. So they're looking at old crop here when they look at May and they look at all these others. So, how's that, middle age? Does that help out there? That gave you a direction and a little better clarity of what's going on. And we'll jump back over to, I think we were heading for the Turkish lira, right? So we'll go do the Turkish lira now. Where's the mouse at? There it is. And there's the Turkish lira. They're playing with the all-time highs again. But look at that. A little weakness in here on my work. This is the dollar pairs. Let's take a look at it over in J4X. There, right there. Yeah, it's right there. You can see it's still lifting up. They're still trying to clarify. You know, I guess they've changed the people who are in charge at the banking system there. Again, I don't know. It's, you know, they said that this guy is, whoever they changed, this guy supposedly is in very comfortable with President / former Prime Minister Aragon, who's led this strategy. You know, he has led it all the way up. So, you know, he was prime minister when it was at 1.5, and somewhere around 3.5 or something like that, he became president. And now we're at 15.5 in the euro, Turkish lira, and the same numbers hold up basically. You know, you can see here it's trading at 13.75. So, you know, it went from 1.5 to 3 to 3 to 6, 6, 12. And now it is trading almost 14. Is there a high? What's the high there? The high is 15.85 3 days ago. So almost 14 against the dollar Turkish lira. Now let's take a look at it. Right. It's going to jump out at me. There it is right there. Now there's the dollar Turkish lira. Euro Turkish lira, I'm sorry, Euro Turkish lira right here. Up on J4X now. And it's doing the same thing, but it has not gotten through the sell like the dollar pair is doing. And I guess today the dollar is making the all-time high, but not the euro. Yesterday was the euro's all-time high right there. So, what is that? Oh, wait a second. That's, yeah, today's the 3rd. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So that's the action we're seeing there. So that's that lag we talk about with the American against the Turkish versus the euro against the Turkish. We've really become a fan of the euro versus the Turkish. Matter of fact, I should probably change that on the fact check spreadsheet instead of following it through the dollar Turkish lira. I guess I'm helping out my American friends. That's what it really comes down to. But I guess if anybody really cared, they would follow the euro Turkish lira, because that's definitely more accurate of the products. There's no doubt about that. I see that having, you know, so much more insight to the action, what to trust, what not to trust, you know, that type of thing, when it moves. So it's kind of a lag going on in the the American one. It's just that the American one seems to generate more trades. That's the only difference. That's what really happens. Is that I do see a lot more trades occurring with the American one, and that's the only reason that we still pay attention to that more. Not more. We look at it first. Let's put it that way. It's not that we pay attention to it more. It's just that we look at it first. You know, it is what it is. All right. From there we go to Canadian. There's the Canadian right there. And as you can see, the Canadian, wow, you know. And for the top of the range there, you can see it just off the top of the picture there. Whatever Mr. Biden done this time, he done wrong. You know, he does everything wrong. Someone did a list of all the things he's done, and he hasn't done anything right. That's the amazing part. Now there's serious talk that he's going to go back to the Trump policy of forcing people to stay, illegals to stay in Mexico before they come across the border. We'll see. They're talking about it. The judges and the courts have told him that it's illegal what he's doing now, but he doesn't care. You know, and they're just battling with him over it all. But he don't care. It's like the old movie, you know, like we don't need no stinking badges type of thing, you know. He's just, you know, I'm the president. I'm going to do this, and then the courts will turn it over, and then I'll challenge it again in courts, and some judge will give us a stay, and we'll wait and see if anybody can respond to it. You know, I mean, it's just he's a character. He is a character. I mean, the attitude, you know, is astonishing. At least in my head, it's astonishing. It's like, wow, you know, he just doesn't care about the rule of law. He doesn't care about all the issues that are going on. You know, it's just weird. He's just so weird. I don't know how else to put it. But you know, there's something there, a stat, and that stat is that something like he doesn't spend a lot of time in Washington as much as everybody thinks he does. He's like you know, since he's become president, it's like I guess January 6th, right, or January 7th or something like that, or whenever he got sworn in. He's only been in Washington like 120 some odd days, and he's been at his private home something like 170 some odd days. So he's away from Washington or doing government work, like, you know, traveling to Europe or doing something like that. He's only been involved and not at his home less by 50 some odd days, which is, wow. You know, that's like, are you kidding me? What's that all about? But I mean, that's because he's old and he's not really that healthy, and it's really funny to watch him say something. You know, he gets all fired up and he says something, and then his staff changes it. Like, you know, they call it talking back. They talk it back, and it's like, what? Wait a minute, didn't the president just say that on live TV? Like, he's angry and he doesn't like that and he won't do it. And then they put out a statement saying that we've decided from the executive office that the president will now support that policy. And it's like, what? It's like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Wait a minute. He just said on live TV he's against it, and you're an idiot for even suggesting it. And then they put a statement out saying he's changed his mind. He never gives out an apology, so it doesn't really matter. So you're not even sure. And the next time he talks about it like as if he never said the first thing. Like, I was shooting from the hip. I didn't really mean that. He never says that. It's like he doesn't even know what the policies are. That's probably why he's not, doing his job 50 days less than he's back at the home or wherever it is, eating Jello. All right. From the CAD, we go over to the metals complex, and we take a look at the oil complex. And obviously, with CAD lifting up, we expect to see gold coming up here on J4X, reddish and heading down. That's the way we're thinking of it. at the same time, let's close that. I hear something. One of the machines just did something. Maybe, oh, maybe Microsoft is doing its thing, you know? That's a possibility. Yeah. And let's take a look at it. You can see there on the J4X it's doing that. Now let's take a look at it here. Same game as we load it up. And you'll see gold. There's oil. You'll see gold right there. Lifting a little bit. It's a little red. It's trying to lift up. I would have thought it was going to be down, you know, at least in my head. That's the way I thought it would have been. It's a little surprising. You know, you can see J4X still has it down. I mean, we're both in down, you know, on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, the thing refuses to give up. Look at that. They refuse. The longer-term investors in gold just refuse to just capitulate and throw it out the door. They are not doing that at all. And then over in the oil area, oil arena, right above it, you can see we're actually flirting with a daily buy right there. Right there is a daily buy. So, you know, it's doing the same thing. It's trying to lift up. You know, it's like, whoa, what's that all about? You know, it's making that interesting move. You know, it's trying to rise, and you would think that would be going down. So both gold and crude oil are showing a little strength there. And actually, Jan Oil is trying to get into a daily buy as we speak. You know, it's doing that thing there, that thing it does. It's trying to lift up and get going. So it's like, oh, surprise, surprise, you know. And that is a little off, but you know, you would think with the selling that we saw that they both would be trying to lift, and so I imagine J4X might start to lift up too. You can see it with the little white line trying to turn up right there, but you can see right here, you see the Jan oil is showing life. So you know, combine those two things together, and it says, oh, you know, action, action, ACTION. Maybe they're going to get something going there, you know. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look at this. We'll take a look at this a little bit further into it. Why don't we do this now? We'll go clean up the other four currency pairs that we look at, and from there, let's see, where's it at? Let's look at the South African Rand, and then what we'll do from there is we'll go take a little bit closer look of whatever anybody wants to see, and the metals complex and the oils complex, and see how they're treating them for the week. Because we've seen nat gas and all that stuff still, you know, seeing the pressure on it. It is not lifting, that's for sure. So, from there we jump over to, as you can see, there's the South African Rand. Let's put it up on J4X at the same time. Right there. And so that is the action we're seeing there. And when it comes to the South African Rand, you know, it should be heading down. Metals are trying to lift up. You know, we think that. Obviously, it's another week. Here it's Friday, and it's obviously going to stay in that weekly buy. It's been in for months. Let's just scrunch that up just to show you. And it's been in a buy since the end of September. So, and it's, you know, marched up, and you see we're in a daily sell for 3 days here with our work. So, you know, we'll see. And you can see J4X reflecting the same situation right there. Red pinkies and line broken, you know, showing all that weakness there. From there, we jump over to the ruble right there. Ruble's been in a daily sell now for 4 full days, going on a 5th day, but the weekly is still firm. It's been in a weekly buy. It's the 4th week now, and it's definitely higher. You know, it went into it in the low 70s, and we've traded all the way up to 75 on it. So, you know, it's showing that action there, and let's just show it to you right there. Same situation. And as you can see there, same situation. You know, ruble trying to, you know, fall into the weekly, but it's not on our work. And then at the same time, you can see our dailies are all trying to press down. You know, they're all both J4X and Chicago Quant. Now, the only problem there in the J4X is that because it has a range, you can see, you know, it's a stochastics battling with each other. You can see it's down at the bottom end of that range right now. So, you know, are they going to start turning it back up again? That's the thing. It's like, wow, what are we seeing there? Is it turning up? It's like, oh my God. So, that is the battle we see. And then when it comes to the, let's see, we jump over to the yen right there. Put the yen up on the Chicago Quant at the same time. Right there. You can see the yen, in other words, the dollar is getting weaker. You know, yeah. Surprise, surprise. No, I'm sorry. The dollar's getting stronger. Dollar's getting stronger. Yen is getting weaker. You know, from it, in the sense that when there's more yen, it's, you know, it's weaker against the dollar there. So that's the action we're seeing again in that sector. What else can we say about that? I guess not much more than that. Indeed, indeed. And then last but not least, you know, we take a look at the Mexican peso. Again, a dollar thing, right there. And we've been watching this action. It was very interesting in the sense that, you know, it had made like, you know, like year and a half highs or something like that. You know, that's at that big oval. It's funny how it's riding the edge of the oval down now, and we're 3 days in a sell. But we're in that weekly buy going on a third week. It doesn't look like they're going to back it off. And for the longest while, it was trapped in a nice low range, and now it's, you know, they pressed it right through it. So that is the action we see there, and we will dismantle that and go on to, I guess that's about it. You can see that at least it's showing that weakness like it's here. All right, from there, what we do is we jump over to the metals complex now. That's what we're going to do, and the oil complex. We can do that like right there. Let's just take a look at the oil complex again. There is crude oil. And as you can see, the product does not. Let's put it up over here too. Where are you? Like so. Earl, right there. There it is, right there. You know, we see that action where it's actually showing a little life to it, which is pretty cool. You know, I mean, I was impressed that they got it down to 66. You know, that was pretty cool. Didn't think we were going to see that type of, you know, push, but you know, I thought we'd, you know, land in the low 70s or something. But they really put a good charge into it on the downside. Now the question is, how long will it last? I don't think it's going to last long at all. That's the thing. I think it's fleeting, literally fleeting. But we'll see. You know, we have been, as you can see, you know, they front run. Matter of fact, we're going to put an article out about it. There is the 2-year high right there, or 3-year high. No, in fact, it's 4-year high. And what did they do? 2 days later, they closed in a weekly sell no less. And they front run this sucker all the way down. They had a good idea what was going on. Now today you can see it's trying to lift up in there. So they front run that thing, and you can see it vacillates back and forth because it is a product that everybody needs. And you can see how, you know, how hungry the world is by going into the buy and into the sell and into the buy and into the sell, even when it's in a weekly sell in this case here. But you know, they front runned it. You know, OPEC came out yesterday. said, hey, guess what? We're going to cut 440,000 barrels. That sounds like a joke, doesn't it? 440. How did they come up with 440,000 barrels? Uh, wasn't that supposedly the number of the Israelites coming out of Egypt? 440,000. Isn't Watchtower focused on Jehovah's Witness, the religion based off of the concept of 440,000? That's why I think it's a joke. Something's a little fishy. Saudi Arabia says we're going to reduce. They're not going to reduce. They said they're going to reduce, but who can really accurately? Is there really? Do they have like a clerk that by the UN standing there in front of every ship, and they go, oh wait a minute, there's 392,000 barrels. Let's say we need another 48,000 barrels. And then they get up to 439,000 barrels, right? And they go, okay, we need just another 1,000 barrels here, guys. Someone go find a forklift and put more barrels in. And they're not doing that. That's why I think it's a joke. The number that they came up with. Someone in Saudi Arabia is laughing right now, like, oh yeah, let me think now. In the Quran and in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, it was 440 Israelites showed up. So 440,000. Let's tell them we're going to cut oil. We're going to cut 440,000 barrels of oil. I mean, really, how do you come up with a number like that? I mean, honestly. I mean, it has to be a joke. And then, you see this. Here is the 3-year high right here. Let me just describe that right there to you. Right there is like a 3-year high, right? Or a 4-year high, something crazy, Right there. That's a 4-year high. Matter of fact, let's scrunch that down a little bit like that so you can see it more. And so let's write that in there. That's a 4-year high right there. All right? So 4-year high, or was it a 5-year high? I don't know, something like that. I think it was a 5-year high, no less. Right? But I think it was actually, to be exact, it was 2015. So right as Trump was getting elected, in the campaign. So what is that? That's a 6-year high, right? So 6-year high, right? So that number's a 6-year high, right there. Make that white also. And then, let's make it bigger like that. And then, what do? No more than a couple days. Let's make it go all the way through, like that. And then, 2 days later, we're going to write this in there. 2 days later, because this is going to be the article. 2 days later, goes, does it spell right? Yeah, goes weekly sell. And it's been in there since. Make that pink. That. 2 days later, goes weekly sell. So, I mean, what in, how else can we describe that? It's crazy, right? Crazy. And then they dare to throw that crazy number out there, 440,000. I mean, I look at that and I go, oh my God, someone's playing a joke on us. And that's where Doc's head's at right now. It's like, oh my God, who is messing with our heads? I mean, really. I mean, does that sound crazy or what? I mean, doesn't that make sense? It makes sense to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 weeks in a cell. I mean, they front run that sucker. I mean, that's a classic front run. So, I mean, how else can you describe that, I don't know how else to describe that, but as a front running. I mean, from the number that they came out with yesterday, claiming that they're going to cut back to, and then let's see, where is the back month? Here is natural gas right there. Natural gas has been sliding, so okay, that makes, I guess, some sense. And then let's see, where's the heating oil? There's heating oil itself. That's kind of stalled out too. It's trying to turn up. You can see that. Oh, you can see that like that. And then, where is it? Right. Let me see. Let me just double check something here. Let's go find that other one. And then right there, the next one is the. Let's take a look at that. We have a customer looking at the back month and watching the June contract. So that's one we should pay attention to and see what they're doing with that. Let's see, let me find that. Where's that at? There it is right there. Now why isn't that not filling in? That's yesterday. Let's give that a refresh. Let's try it again. That didn't do it. There it is. Let's give that a refresh. I'm not sure what the malfunction is there, but we're going to try to fix that right now. So what is that? That's the June contract. I know it's in there. I see the prices right there. It's filled in right there. Let's just double check what the contract's doing, and we'll get that filled in, because I want to see what they're doing with the back month, if it's moving or not moving. And then let's go to right there. Let's get the right price of it in there. Let's check out what the price is for the back month. I want to find that out, because see if they're putting the same pressure. Excuse me. So we're looking at the June contract, and right now June is 66.83. Good. Yeah, 66.83. So, and it's higher also. The high is 66.83. Let's put that in, and then the low is what is the low? The low is 65.06. Let's take a look and see what that's doing. And then right now it's trading at. No, the high is 67.22. That's what it is. So it's trading at 83, but the high is 72. Let's do that, and then let's just save this, save workspace, and then close it and then reopen it again. And that'll straighten out. Yeah, and that's the action. Now we need to reopen it, and we'll take a look and see, and then we'll go take a look at the metals complex and see what they're doing with that at the same time, because of the way the Canadian's been acting. Indeed, indeed. All right, open Sesame. And right there. there. So it's trying to lift up too. It's going plus. Okay. But the weekly's got that weekly thing going on. You know, it's pretty weak. So where's it at? Right there, June. There we go. So we're seeing that. So the back month, very firm. You know, I mean, it's not weak, that's for sure. So we're seeing that type of action. And so that's the oil complex in general. It's trying to lift, but they put an all-time high, and we went into a weekly sell literally 2 days later, if not the same day. I mean, wow. And now for 5 weeks, it's been in a weekly sell. So, you know, they're making a joke out of the whole thing. That's all it really comes down to. And it doesn't have to be that way. The United States is independent in energy, and it just chooses not to, be number one, or we were number one. That's what it really comes down to. So, okay, that's the name of that game right there. All right, let's take a look at the metals complex. So we saw gold showing strength. Let's take a look at it. Oh, let's do it on J4X too. You know, I guess I could have shown you natural gas on J4X. Natural gas is on J4X also. There's gold. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look at silver. Let's throw silver up there now. And there's silver. Right there. It's a little up for the day. You can see it's curving up here on Doc's work. You see that strength there. Oh, there's Middle Age. What's in Middle Age says there's a big block trader that thinks commodities will be going down long term because of AUX USD is starting a major down trend. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that, but I hear you. But I'm not seeing that. If we were in a weekly sell, I'd be a lot more comfortable. You know, let's just go back to that. That's the maybe next week, if this thing gets pushed into a weekly sell next week, but if they start to bounce this thing up and we start to go into a daily buy, and you know what, is that a reverse head and shoulders? I think it's the other way around. I can't even tell what that is anymore. I mean, it looked like a reverse head and shoulders from here to there. There was the head, right? Then it looks like it's a double head. I've heard them call that, and that's the other shoulder, but the shoulder's higher. We need to see this thing break down below the 17s. You know, like 1710, take out these lows to believe that we're seeing commodities fall apart. I think that in a world of inflation, I think commodities are usually the last thing. Now, if, one of the big concerns would be is that I heard that story also somewhere along the line about a week ago because of inflation. Normally, one of the ways to end inflation is a recession. Right? And so, in other words, prices come down because no one's buying. But with quantitative easing, it's not like, what are they now? They're doing 105 billion more a month in new cash. Mr. Biden is pressing a $2 or $3 or $4 trillion increase in spending, not billion or million, but so it's awful hard to believe that the cash won't be around. And so I don't have a lot of confidence. Yeah, I agree with you, Middle Age. I think he's off. I hear the logic to it. I agree with the logic to it. But I just don't believe it's happening. In other words, there's too much. Now, if Powell all of a sudden next month says, okay, instead of 105 billion, we're only doing, 5 billion. Or maybe 44 billion. Like with the Saudis, We're only doing 440 million. You know, it'll be the biggest joke of all against all of us. But until we see that, and we actually see it, the practicality, like they actually go and do it, I don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to go see a recession. It's hard to go into a recession when they're plowing this much money into the system. And Mr. Biden is very aggressive about his idea. You know, he wants to. He wants his what do you call it? He wants his $4 trillion spending thing. You know, it's in the Senate. It's waiting to go through the Senate now. The House passed it. So I mean, that's the problem. Now, if Mr. Biden would come out and say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't the moment to do that," but Mrs. Yellen and Mr. Powell last week, 3 days ago, didn't exactly stand up and do that. The most Mr. Powell said was, "We're going to try to start tapering earlier." That was what he said. He didn't say, "Oh, please, Mr. President, don't spend another $2 trillion. You already spent $2 trillion this year." So that's the problem. Is that now if he would have done that, I would be like right there with the commodities guy. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna smack a doodle that stuff. They're gonna beat it up." That would make total sense to me. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing the opposite of it right now. So that's the whole blast of it all, really. I don't see that, and because we don't see the policy change, why would we want to believe that Mr. Powell is going to push any harder than he already has? That's the problem, is that we're not seeing that policy change. We need to see the policy change. And Mr. Powell, what's worse is Mrs. Yellen could have stepped up. She could have said something. And she didn't. She didn't even talk about inflation. She took out 2 days of testimony. She did not mention the word inflation once. So they're running and hiding. They are running and they are hiding from the facts, from reality. And so they're gonna tell us how much they're concerned. They're gonna tell us how much they think we need to go into recession or stop spending. Oh, no, they're not gonna say that. Matter of fact, what am I saying? I guess I'm losing my mind. He keeps on coming out telling us that if they only spend $2 trillion more, inflation will go away. That's right. I don't know anybody out there that's an economist, but any economist that's listening right now, when does more printing reduce inflation? I don't. That's not in my vocabulary, guys. So I'm kind of perplexed on that one. I don't. I don't understand that at all. To me, that's not there. That's not in my vocabulary. So I don't know what else to say about it. Now let's look at copper. There's copper. Yeah, see, it's trying to firm up. Matter of fact, look at that right there. We are even flirting with a possible daily buy since it got going this morning. Matter of fact, we can probably put the little line in there like that at this point for tomorrow, unless they knock out the red dot by the close of today. And we're still in the weekly sell, and that pressure's been on since up in, it hasn't, it's been very weird, that gap. I'm not sure if that was I should double check everything. Let me go over and take a look at that real quick. Is that gap real? Let's double check that. Because that is one of the more, I haven't, I'm sure I double checked it before. What is that? That is the March contract. That gap, let's see, that gap I think is wrong. So there's the 29th. What is that? There's the 26th. There's the 29th. So the 26th, that number is wrong. Let me fix that. I knew something was wrong there, because that doesn't make any sense. I mean, we're in the weekly, so let's see what that whole thing changes. Let's see how it changes. So that's the 26th, and that's March 26th. So that's right there. Let's open that up and fix that. That data is wrong, and it's been driving me crazy the last couple of days, and I keep on thinking I need to look at that, and I don't look at that, and that doesn't make any sense. I think it still keeps us in a sell, but we'll see. Oh yeah, okay. So let's do that. That's like that. And then what was the high that day? I see, okay. Like that. Watch this. So the actual accuracy is there. And then let's see if the settlement was right. The settlement was 429.10. And we are on the 26th. Yeah, so it's 429.10. You can see that. That's fine. The low is 28.05. Okay. All right, now let's save this and close it and reopen it. Because that copper's been bugging the daylights out of me when I look at that. I keep on thinking I need to look at that. I'm not sure why I haven't. I thought I did. I thought I fixed that a couple days ago. But we'll try. We'll do it again. Okay, that's better. So it's trying to go into the buy here today. That's what it is. Right there. But it's still in a weekly sell. I think every time I've fixed it, it's in a weekly sell. So it goes into the sell there. And it drifts down. There's no doubt about that. And it's in the weekly sell from back in here. Let's save that too. Copper. That's better. All right, now that makes more sense looking at that. Alrighty, where else are we at? I guess we're done. We didn't really get a chance to look at stock indices, but I just wanted to show you the craziness in the oil. I mean, we are at all-time highs. It goes into a weekly sell literally the next day. 2 days later, it's confirmed on the weekly close itself. I mean, is that at 440,000? Who comes up with numbers like that? It wasn't until I saw that yesterday where Saudi Arabia said we're cutting 440,000. At first, I didn't think about it, but during the webinar today, when I thought about the number, I thought it was an odd number to begin with. Then I started thinking about that. That's a joke. That's obviously a joke. So, all right, this is Doc from North America. We will catch you all, because today is TGIF. We will see you on Monday on TGIM. Thank goodness it'll be Monday. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Ta-ta, everybody have a safe and smart weekend, traders.